The story begins with a chat between children over a cup of tea. The boy is mesmerized by the girl's beauty. He can't take eyes off her. The girl's name is Elena Respel. She is 14 years old and very beautiful. The boy is sure, when she grows up, she will become even more beautiful. He asks Elena for her answer. He has been waiting for her answer for a long time. As Elena is about to answer him, the boy notices her shyness. She seems so cute to him. Elena says she doesn't want it. The boy is shocked. How she reject him? He is the heir to the duchy. After gathering his strength, the boy asks why she doesn't want to. Elena says she has no particular reason. The young master is just not her type. Also, she actually likes his younger brother better than him. The boy didn't expect to hear that at all. How could she like his brother better than him? Elena doesn't like the young master flirting with her. They both know he has a beautiful fiancée. How shameless of him to suggest she have an affair with him. The boy asks if she's sure. Elena doesn't mind saying it again. She prefers his younger brother Sir Lection over him. Now we move to the beginning of this story. When Elena first arrived at the Duke's estate, the girl didn't know why the Duke needed her, but she knew that her father owed the Duke a lot of money. Some man says it's a pleasure to meet Miss Elena. His name is Alto, he's a butler of Duke Heir's. So, she can follow him. The girl is amazed at the grandeur of Duke Heir's mansion. She can't believe she's going to live in a place like this. The head maid says her name is Mary. Next to her is the person who will be helping Miss Elena. The woman says it's a pleasure to meet Elena, her name is Rossi. The girl is also happy to meet her. Aww. Rossi says she will take her suitcase. Elena thanks her for her concern. The butler thinks she should meet the Duke first. The maids get together to discuss the new guest. One thinks that the girl looks very similar to Master Kane. Another maid feels sad, the child is left alone at such a young age. A maid who finishes her meal doesn't care. The girl should just be grateful that the master takes care of her. The other maid is yelling at her. How can she say that? The girl's parents passed away not long ago. Elena is amazed at the beauty and variety of decorations in the Duke's mansion. It must take a lot of time to clean such a large house. The girl remembers her past, when she had to work hard to survive. She notices a scary scene. A child screams that she doesn't want to be a maid, but the men take her away from her mother. The mother begs her daughter to forgive her. Because of her father's debts, she has no other options left. One day, similar men took Elena from her home. People said that Elena's father was a good man, but ended up in debt, and soon died. People gossiped that Elena would have to pay the debt instead of her father. To lose parents at such a young age, what a misfortune. Alto says this is the Duke's office. He's waiting for her. Elena wants to be strong. This is her new place of work, she will handle it. Duke Heir is signing some important papers. He notices his little guest. Duke asks Elena to come closer to him. The girl feels Duke's strong aura, but she should not be frightened by him. Elena greets the master. The Duke says that she seems to have misunderstood. He is not her master and never will be. Elena is completely confused. Maybe he wants her to pay off her father's debts right now, but she has no money at all. Duke Heir explains that she didn't come here as a maid. So she doesn't need to call him master. He only brought her here for one reason, to take care of her. The child doesn't understand why. The Duke says he made a promise to Kane. But it seemed to Elena, her father owed the Duke a debt. If not, perhaps her father had a lot of money. That even the Duke wants to help her. Elena realized she was talking to herself out loud. Heir wants to give her more than just money. So from now on, she can just call him Duke. And now this place is her home. Rossi leads the young lady to her room. Elena can't believe this will be her room. Rossi says it is. Elena can already go inside. So, Elena starts to look around her new room. So many interesting things in her room. But one thing Elena can't understand. Why Rossi is looking at her like that. It's because she is very beautiful. Rossi wants to find lots of pretty dresses for her. White summer dress for morning walks. Comfortable dress for everyday wear. Elena looks very cute in all her dresses. The maid even covers her eyes from her brightness. Rossi is amazed at how much the girl looks like her father, and how cute she is. Elena is embarrassed by this praise. But Rossi asks her not to worry, she becomes even more beautiful in these clothes. The maid suggests her to have tea in the garden. Rossi organizes a tea ceremony for her lady under the dome. It's the best cake she's ever tasted. Rossi hopes she likes it. The maid sees someone in boat. Elena wondered who it could be. Not far from the dome stood two boys. But who are these wonderful boys? Elena even dropped her fork. Both boys were so handsome. Rossi tells Elena that they are the Duke's sons. She should greet the young masters. The first to greet Elena was the older boy. His blue eyes scrutinize the girl. He asks if she is the daughter of Master Kane. Elena didn't answer him, but continued to stare at him with a frozen look. The boy doesn't understand why she is silent, but apparently it doesn't bother him. Elena finally realized that it was time to respond to his greeting. The girl is nice to meet him, her name is Elena Respel. The boy introduces himself as Killian Halos and his brother as Lection Halos. Elena turns her attention to his younger brother. He continues to hide behind Killian's back. Elena finds him very cute. He is also handsome, and apparently shy. Killian notices their strange behavior. Anyway, he asks Elena about her plans for today. Killian suggests that she take a little walk and chat with him. He admits that he likes her. Elena's first day at the Duke's mansion had come to an end. The girl has a dream, but it doesn't seem sweet. She sees her previous life. Then she was an office worker. Every day she worked until late and was very tired. After work, the heroine liked to read novels on her phone. The caption said, "Don't regret it." The only happiness in her life was reading fantasy romance novels. On her way to work, she was reading a novel. Suddenly she was pushed and her phone fell. Some man picked up the heroine's mobile. He was wondering what the business lady was reading. It was a romance novel for adults. The heroine snatches the phone and runs out of the train. The caption said, "Don't regret it." Elena was not a good character in this novel. Elena was the villain of the story, and she was madly in love with Killian. But villains rarely have happy endings. Killian left her when it was time for him to get married. No matter how much Elena begged him to stay, Killian left her alone even knowing she was pregnant. The girl wakes up in a cold sweat from a nightmare. Whether it was a prophetic dream, or just her imagination. The next beautiful fall day in the Duchy of Halos. Rossi opened the window and welcomed the wonderful morning. She asks how the young lady slept. Elena is not in the mood to talk about it. Rossi thinks the girl looks sad, so she needs to cheer her up. She asks why the princess won't talk to her. The maid yells what's with her face. Elena doesn't understand what the maid is talking about. Rossi thinks her face looks swollen. Perhaps the young lady didn't sleep last night. Elena says she is not used to her new place yet. Rossi asks Elena to be honest with her. She can tell her everything. The girl doesn't know what Rossi is talking about. Rossi is sure that Elena couldn't sleep, because all night she was thinking about the Duke and his sons. Rossi says it's okay, she couldn't sleep in the first days either. Duke Halos and his children. Rossi had never seen anyone more handsome. I think a lot of maids work here just to see the Duke's family. Elena seems the maids are a little crazy. But she didn't give away her thoughts. Elena tries to chase away the dream, maybe it won't be like that. She wants to ask Rossi something. Is Killian engaged? The maid says of course he is. Perhaps it was too naive of her to think that the heir to the duchy might be not engaged. She needs to remember something else from the dream. Elena asks if his fiancée could be the daughter of Count Oswald. Rossi says she is. So it wasn't just a crazy dream. Until yesterday, Elena knew nothing about the duchy, or the novel. For commoners, the lives of nobles are distant and unknown. The little girl couldn't know anything about Count Oswald, or his family. She has never met Count Oswald's daughter, but for some reason she knows what she looks like. It all seems so unbelievable to Elena. Thanks to that dream, she knows a lot about Jane Oswald. Jane was a positive heroine in that novel, but her fate was no less tragic. After breakfast, Elena went for a walk in the garden. She liked the red flowers. But I wouldn't advise her not to touch the licorice. The girl heard some strange noises. As if someone was doing very hard work. It turned out that knights were practicing nearby. Elena was amazed by their training. She wondered if her father had trained here. Elena dreams of being protected by one of these knights. The knights notice the girl peeping at them. So, Elena thinks it's time for her to go away from here. After a while, the girl found a beautiful path. How large the Duke's estate is, Elena thinks. Walking along this path, Elena forgot about her worries. There are so many beautiful plants in this place, and the air is so clean, all bad thoughts flew away. Suddenly Elena hears someone screaming. The girl immediately ran to help, someone must be hurt. Running out of the shade of the trees, Elena noticed two boys. Lection closed his arms from his older brother, as if Killian had just hit him. Elena remembered something else important from the dream. The reason why Lection overtook his older brother, and became Duke. All because Killian was beating him. Killian raised his hand again, probably intending to hit his brother, but Elena didn't let him finish the move. She stood in front of Killian and asked him to stop. The girl's eye spoke of her determination to stop it. For a moment, Killian seemed discouraged by her appearance. But only for a moment. Killian asks what brought Elena here. They are having a training now, maybe Elena wanted to watch him. Elena was in no mood for jokes. She asks him to explain what happened. Killian pretends not to know what she is talking about, and suggests her to forget about it. Since she is here, Killian suggests that they go for a walk together. Elena tells him she's not going to do that. She asks how Lection is feeling. Lection makes a sudden movement with his hand, letting her know that he doesn't need her help. Elena thinks that he refuses to help, because he is afraid of his brother. Elena squats down beside the frightened boy. The girl suggests Lection to go to the mansion together. Her bright smile relieves all Lection's worries. Elena asks him to climb on her back. Killian asks Elena not to worry so much, everything was fine. The girl doesn't understand what could be fine, when the heir to the duchy beats his brother. Their ancestors must be crying seeing this scene. So, Elena carried the young master on her back to the mansion. Everyone tries to hide their faults from other people, but what Killian is hiding can't be justified. Elena would never partner with such a trashy main character. While the girl was carrying Lection home, he fell into a sweet sleep. Apparently he sniffled his nose, because Elena noticed it. The girl decided she was going to protect this boy. A doctor has come to examine Lection's condition. Elena stayed in his room to make sure he was okay. She doesn't understand why Killian is abusing him so much. The doctor says that the boy is alright, he needs to rest. After the doctor leaves, the maid asks Elena to stay. The maid introduces herself as Sophie. She has been Lection's maid since he was little. She is very thankful to Elena for saving the young master. The maid begins to cry, leaving Elena to ponder the situation. The girl asks if Sophie knows what is going on. Sophie tells her that everything started half-year ago. When the Duke went to war, Master Killian took his place temporarily. As the young heir, he performed his duties well. But one day Sophie noticed wounds on Lection's body. She couldn't imagine that Master Killian would torture his brother so much. Lection apologizes to his brother, saying that he was wrong. Sophie is horrified by these words. The other maids also knew what was happening, but no one could do anything about it. Because the culprit was the heir to the Duchy of Halos, so ordinary people like Sophie could only watch in silence. Elena was astonished by this injustice. She needs to change her future, but not just for her own sake. There are a lot of people she wants to save from Killian. A morpho butterfly flew into Lection's room. Going out on the balcony, Elena noticed many beautiful butterflies dancing around the flowers. So, Elena was determined to rewrite the story of this duchy, and change her future. Toward evening, Lection woke up. Sophie asks the young master not to get up, he needs to rest. She informs Lection that the doctor has not noticed any serious injuries. The boy is glad to hear that. He asks how he ended up in his room. Sophie says he was brought here by Miss Elena, while he was asleep. Lection seems to remember this moment. For some reason that girl carried him on her back. Lection thought only about not crying, because Halo's family members must be strong. Why is this girl so kind to him? Lection remembered, her name is Elena. The next beautiful morning, Elena is hiding from someone in the garden. That someone can't leave her in peace. Killian asks why Elena is hiding from him. Perhaps she wants to play hide and seek with him. The girl finds it crazy, why the heir to the duchy behaves like this. Earlier this morning, little Elena wants to go for a walk, when suddenly a rude boy says that he is going for a walk with her. The girl locked herself in her room, but the boy was very stubborn. He kept demanding to go for a walk together. When Elena thought that Killian had finally left, Killian again invited her to go for a walk with him. Elena thinks this is not normal, he can't follow her around forever. That's how Elena ended up in this place. She doesn't understand why Killian thinks she would want to be friends with him, after what she saw. Elena hears some strange noises in the bushes. She wants to see who it is digging around. Looking behind the bushes, she sees a rabbit. It's just a cute little rabbit, but for some reason it seems sad, so Elena decides to touch it. Suddenly there is a strong wind around the rabbit, and the seemingly sleeping rabbit comes to life. The rabbit greets its master with a squeaky voice. Elena is in complete shock. Rabbits aren't supposed to talk. The cute creature thanks the master for his saving. He almost died from lack of energy, but the master shared some of it with him and he survived. The girl still can't accept the fact that rabbits can talk. But he's so cute, she can't stop laughing. Elena asks what the rabbit's name is. The rabbit's name Laney. Still, the girl is very curious to know what he is. Laney is just Laney. Elena explains that she doesn't ask him his name, he is obviously an unusual rabbit. Laney is proud to announce that he is a spirit of the earth. Guys, we got Aisha another friend. Today Laney has no energy left, but the kind master shared his energy with him. Elena doesn't remember having anything to do with spirits in the dream. Why did a person with such power have a place in the novel as the main character's lover? Laney notices that the master looks upset, which bothers her. Elena says that everything is fine. She's just a bit thoughtful. She actually wants to ask Laney something. The rabbit is ready to answer any question from his master. Elena's heart nearly leaps out at the cuteness and loyalty. So, why does he call her master? Lainey doesn't understand her question. She is his master because she is his master. The girl asks him to explain what that means. It means, Elena is his master. Okay, if he is so insistent, Elena agrees to be his master. After all, he's so sweet and so gentle. Elena hears someone walking towards where she is sitting. It turns out to be Lection. Elena takes a breath. She thought it was Killian who found her. The girl asks if Lection is feeling better. The boy feels that Elena is worried about him. He wants to thank her for that day. So Lection says he feels better and thanks her very much. Elena says everything is fine, she is happy that he is feeling better. The boy is trying to get his thoughts together, he can't keep standing there embarrassed. Lection asks what Elena is doing here. The girl says she is playing with her friend the rabbit. Lection doesn't quite know what she means. After all, Lainey is invisible to ordinary people. Perhaps Elena is showing him flowers. Elena offers him to touch it. The boy is confused, she has nothing in her hands. Maybe she wants him to touch her hand, but Lection would prefer not to do it. Elena says he has nothing to fear, he can touch it. Lection's hand goes through the rabbit, and touches Elena's hand. Lainey explains to the master, other people can't see him, or touch him. Lection noticed her confusion and pulled his hand away. So only Elena can see this rabbit. The girl asks if Lection can see the rabbit in her hands. The boy doesn't know what she means. So Lainey is telling the truth. The rabbit is upset that the master doesn't believe his words. Elena realizes the embarrassment of this situation. Someone shouted Elena's name. It's Killian, who is still looking for her. He keeps shouting her name. The girl even covered her ears because his voice was so nasty. Lection decides to go to his brother. Elena asks him to sit in silence for a while. In the previous part, Elena Spell came to live in the mansion of Duke Heir. The Duke had two handsome sons, and both of them liked Elena. In her dream, Elena learned what a terrible future awaits her, if she becomes Killian's lover. Now she is determined to change the future, and help Lection, who is being abused by his older brother. Elena asks if Master Lection is hungry. Lection says he is a little hungry. Then Elena proposes that they eat together. She takes Lection by the hand and leads him to the mansion. Lection likes Elena, she is so kind to him. In the mansion, Duke Halos is signing important papers. Alto, the butler of Halos' mansion, was surprised by Lection's behavior. The Duke agrees with him. His youngest son has offered to have a family dinner. After the Duke finished his work, it was time for dinner. The Duke asks if he smells something. Alto informs him that he smells nothing but ink. Duke Halos is a little worried about his youngest son. The night he returned from the war, Lection came to meet his father. But his father smelled of blood, so Lection had to cover his nose. Terrified, he ran to his room. Duke Halos thinks his youngest son is so weak. Alto tells him not to worry, Master Lection is just too small. While he was away, Master Killian ruled the duchy. Alto assures the Duke that his son has done well in his duties. Duke Halos is glad to hear that. As heir to the duchy, Killian must fulfill his position. That evening, the Halos family gathers for dinner together. Elena Spell was also invited to dinner, as an important guest of Duke Halos. Killian was glad that Elena was here. He tried to show it with his winks and glances, but Elena didn't react to him. The Duke noticed that Elena was eating little, and asked if she liked the meal. The girl answered that she liked everything. Killian assumed that Elena eats a little, to become even more beautiful. Elena decides to show him how well she can eat. The girl started eating at a phenomenal speed. The Halos family were amazed at her abilities. Killian is happy to know that Elena is eating well. While the other princesses worry about weight, she doesn't care about it. He suggests Elena a taste of his dish as well. Suddenly Elena says she is full, and doesn't want any more. While she modestly says that she doesn't really eat much, she thinks about how he dares to offer her to eat from his plate. Killian continues to look at her with a loving gaze. Elena wants to escape to her room. She was surprised to see Lection eating his food well. Elena thought it would be difficult for him to eat with his brother around. She noticed that Lection wasn't eating all the food. He doesn't eat vegetables. Elena asks Master Lection to eat vegetables. If he eats this, he will grow big and strong. The Duke explains that it's pointless. Lection doesn't like vegetables. Since the reason is this, Elena can't really do anything about it. Many children his age don't like vegetables. Suddenly, Lection ate a broccoli, surprising everyone present. Elena thinks Lection is so cute. She restrains her hand from hugging him. Duke Heir says it's impossible. Even his wife couldn't get Lection to eat vegetables. The Duke concludes that Lection listens to Elena's advice. He's glad they were able to have dinner together, because soon they won't see each other often. The Duke explains to Elena that Killian and Lection will go to the academy in the spring. Winter in their empire is quite warm, so in 3 months his sons will go to the academy. Rich nobles send their children to the imperial capital's academy. There, children are taught various sciences, based on their skills and preferences, from martial arts, to painting. However, the science that Elena would like to study is not in the academy. Perhaps the original Elena could have become a powerful magician, if she hadn't fallen in love with Killian. Duke Heir suggests that Elena join the academy, if she wants to. Elena doesn't even know, she needs time to think about it. The Duke asks her not to hurry. Princess Jane is coming to visit them soon. Elena can give her answer after she arrives. Elena realizes that everything is going according to the story from her dream. The Duke says that Jane Oswald is Killian's fiancée. He would like Elena to become friends with her. Elena agrees, she really wants to see Killian's fiancée. After dinner was over, Elena would go to her room. Someone grabbed her arm while she was in thought. Killian caught up with her, and tell her that the arrival of his fiancée doesn't change anything. Elena is the only one in his heart. Elena would like to clear the air. She asks if he realizes what kind of relationship they have. Killian doesn't know, but he would like her to be his partner. Killian says that even if she rejects him, he will still like her. Since he doesn't know what their relationship is, Elena will answer him. They don't have a relationship, and never will. While Elena angrily goes to her room, Killian decides that he will not give up so easily. Elena feels like vomiting. How can this guy be so disgusting? If she doesn't leave her room, they won't meet each other. After a few days, however, Elena was forced to come out. The Duke had an important guest coming to the mansion, so Elena had to get ready. Her maid Rossi chased her all over the mansion, while Elena just wanted to sleep. Rossi finally managed to get the young lady into a beautiful dress. Rossi brushes the young lady's hair, but Elena doesn't see the point in dressing up like that. The main characters today will be Killian and Jane. In the original story, they were supposed to get married 3 years after becoming adults. From this day forward, Jane Oswald will live in the Halos Duke's mansion. She will be learning how to be a good duchess and wife. However, they were never able to get married. Killian made up various reasons for postponing the wedding. The real reason, however, was Elena. Little Elena thinks that if she doesn't date him, they will get married quickly. Realizing this, Elena became furious. She doesn't want Jane to marry such a scoundrel. Elena doesn't want anyone to suffer because of Killian. She wants to help Jane. When Elena wanted to leave her room, She noticed a small bouquet of daisies on the floor. The first thing she thought was that Killian had put them here. However, after a closer look, she realized who gave her those flowers. The day she returned to the mansion with Lection, he noticed a daisy tangled in her hair. Then Lection said, "Those flowers suited Elena well." After spending some more time in front of the mirror, Elena wove the daisies into her hair. There were many servants on the first floor of Duchy Heir's mansion. Everyone was preparing for the arrival of Jane Oswald. Killian was scolding his younger brother for deciding to come down. When he decided to hit him, Elena suddenly stopped his hand. She friendlily asks the young master not to do that. Killian says it's a misunderstanding. He didn't mean to hit Lection, he just wanted to scare him. Realizing that his excuses sounded stupid, Killian turned away. Elena assures him that threatening someone is also bad. She turned her attention to Lection, asking if he is okay. Lection continued to sit on the floor, not wanting to get up. Then Elena gave him a helping hand. Lection didn't want Elena to protect him from his brother. Killian might get even angrier. But Elena tells him not to worry, everything will be fine. Lection was surprised when he noticed the daisies in Elena's hair. Elena thanks him for the beautiful flowers. The herald solemnly announced the arrival of Count Oswald's daughter, Jane Oswald. The girl was dressed in a preppy yellow dress. Her smile and eyes shone like a ray of sunshine. Elena was amazed by her beauty. The girl introduced herself as Jane Oswald. Killian doesn't want Elena to see this, but he must observe etiquette. Getting down on one knee, Killian kissed Jane's hand. He said that Jane looked beautiful today. The girl was clearly embarrassed by this gentleman's behavior. Elena doesn't want to believe it, such a good girl can't fall in love with such a trashy guy. Elena forgot to introduce herself again. She curtsied and introduced herself as Elena Respel. Jane was pleased to meet her. She hopes that they can become friends. Elena thinks that Jane is like a real angel. And she's so cute. Elena decided that she would separate the two of them. She won't let Jane suffer. The next morning Killian and Jane spent time chatting in the gazebo. Killian would prefer that Elena didn't see them together. Suddenly he noticed that Jane was staring at him. The girl lowered her eyes, and blushed. When Killian asked her what was wrong, she apologized and asked what they were talking about. Killian asked how she was living at Halo's mansion. He hoped she was comfortable living here. Jane thanks him, she's doing well here. Killian thinks Jane is not his type, but she is still pretty cute. Killian touched her face without any warning. Jane recoiled, which surprised Killian. She is his fiancée after all, and in his opinion, he has not done anything wrong. At this time Elena was looking for Lady Jane in her room. She was surprised that Jane was not in her room. The maid informed her that Lady Jane is now with Master Killian. Towards evening, Elena asked the maid again where Lady Jane is. The maid replied that Lady Jane with Master Killian. The next day, Lady Jane with Master Killian. Elena thinks she's going crazy. The maids circle around her repeating that Lady Jane with Master Killian. Elena has to do something, she can't let Jane fall in love with this guy. After a while, Elena finds them sitting together in the gazebo. They seem to be having a good time together. Jane even smiled at Killian. Elena started crying. Such a good girl shouldn't fall in love with such a garbage. Elena needs to stop this. But she had no reason to stop them. What's she supposed to do? She can't even talk to Jane because of this clingy guy. Suddenly, Elena heard some noise behind a tree. From behind a tree, Lection watched her. He quietly asks what she's doing here. Elena shows that she is watching the two of them. For some reason Lection became sad. Elena noticed this, and asked if Killian had hurt him again. Lection said no. Then Elena doesn't understand why he suddenly became sad. In any case, Elena thought that maybe everything is not so bad. If she doesn't date Killian, Maybe he will grow up to be a different person. After a few days, Elena was able to see Jane. Duke Halos hired a teacher who will teach the girls a variety of subjects. Girls don't know how to make conversation. Suddenly the girls were talking at the same time. Elena suggests Jane to start first. Jane says that they have not seen each other since she arrived at the mansion. Elena finds this a big omission. She missed her. Jane knew that Lady Elena had visited her several times, while she was away. Duke Halos tells her that Elena wants to go to the same academy as her. Jane wants to be friends with Elena, and be in the same class. Elena can't believe that she will be friends with the main heroine of the novel. But still, she didn't expect Jane to be so nice. In her dream, Jane Oswald seems so cold and dark. Would Jane change so much because of Killian and Elena? This time, everything will be different. Jane confesses that she has few friends because she has lived in a castle all her life. She asks Elena not to think she's clingy, but she really wants to be her friend. Elena is sure that they will become friends. Suddenly the door opens, and their teacher enters the room. The teacher turned out to be a young woman. Her name is Yuri. The lessons that Yuri taught were interesting. Elena admired the intelligence, beauty and grace of their teacher. Yuri graduated from the Imperial Academy. She is a runner-up in the art and martial arts competition. In her 20s, Yuri had already become a teacher. The first lesson ended quickly, so the teacher let the girls go. Elena feels pity that their lessons with Yuri will only be 3 times a week. A few days later, Elena was walking around the mansion. Suddenly she heard Jane asking someone to let her go. Elena rushes to help her. She notices Killian holding Jane against the wall. She was right about this guy after all. This main character is a real piece of trash. Elena screams at Killian, why is he forcing Jane if she doesn't want to? Killian lets the girl leave and she hides behind Elena. Elena looked at Killian with such disgust, that he had nothing to say. Turning away, he left in a hurry. Elena still can't understand why he likes to force other people. Elena heard some sobbing behind her back. When Elena turns around, she sees that Jane is in tears. The girl tells her that she was so scared. Elena asks her not to cry. She hugs Jane saying that everything is okay. Even though Jane is Killian's fiancée, he can't do whatever he wants. Elena takes Jane to her room. She asks her to wait here, until she brings her tea and towel. Jane apologizes to Elena for the inconvenience. She didn't really mean to cry, but Killian was acting so assertive, that she was scared. In any case, Jane thanks Elena for her help. She acted so brave and determined. Jane feels like she can never be like her. Elena asks her not to say that, she should be brave too. If someone forces her to do something she doesn't like, she must refuse. No matter who is in front of her, she has to say no. Jane assures her that she understands. One day Duke Halos invited Elena to discuss her admission to the academy. Elena told him that she didn't want to go to the academy, which surprised the Duke. Yuri said that Elena had no problems with her studies, so he thought she would go. Elena says that the academy doesn't have the science she wants to study. In fact, Elena would like to study magic. The day she met the Earth Spirit, she thought she had a talent for magic. But she doesn't know if the Duke will want to help her. He never told her why he let her live in his mansion, or who her father was. After a moment of thought, Duke Halos decided to help her. Elena would need a magician teacher to learn magic, but magicians don't leave their magic tower. It's really hard to get them to do something, even for the imperial family. The Duke will have to spend a lot of money to hire a magic teacher for Elena. So they first need to see if Elena has a talent for magic. Elena understands him, she will try her best. The Duke is glad to hear that, he will hire a talented magician to teach her. The girl has a great opportunity to discuss with the Duke what is bothering her. She would like to discuss Jane as well, but right now it's more important to talk about Lection. Elena tells her concerns about Killian beating Lection. She didn't see it in person, but she saw the wounds on Lection's body. She is sure that some of the servants know about it. Elena hoped she did not offend the Duke, but she could not keep silent about it. Duke Halos says it's all right. Children sometimes fight with each other. Elena assures him, what she saw was nothing like a fight. The Duke asked her not to worry about it, and leave the room. He'll take care of it himself. On this night, Duke Halos called his eldest son for a talk. The Duke tells him, he heard something weird from the servants today. He had no idea Killian would abuse Lection. Many people feared and respected Duke Halos, for he was a stern man. The Duke wanted the Halos family to become the strongest in the Empire. Killian became afraid of his father after his mother died. Duke Halos stopped caring about anything except work. Those who were useless to him, he banished from the duchy, even family members. However, there was one boy to whom the Duke gave his attention. As Lection grew older, the more attention his father gave him. Killian was afraid that one day his father would abandon him. Duke Halos asks Killian why he is acting like this. Perhaps it's because of jealousy, or Killian is just not feeling confident. Either way, the father asks him to stop hurting his younger brother. If the rumors get out of the mansion, Killian will tarnish the reputation of the Halos family. One sunny morning, Jane and Elena went to the garden to chat together. They drank tea and enjoyed the beautiful view from the greenhouse. Jane asks Elena to look that way. Not far away from them, Lection was watching the flowers. He looked sadly at the wilted flowers. Even though Lection looked sad, he was still so cute. The girls couldn't help themselves and laughed merrily. Lection noticed them, and smiled cheerfully. He ran towards them, greeting Lady Jane and Sister Elena. Jane was amazed that Lection could smile so brightly, while Elena was touched to be called sister. Lection found their cookies appetizing, so he decided to have tea with them. The girls agreed, and Lection began to bathe the cookies like a squirrel. Elena can't believe someone could be so cute. The children were having a nice time together. Killian was watching all this from the side. He can't understand why the girls are laughing so merrily in the presence of his brother. None of them smiled at him so sincerely. Killian crushed the nearest flowers out of anger. Sadly, he walked back to the mansion. Jane began to casually chat with Elena, which surprised Lection. He looked at her with a little resentment and envy. Jane asks Elena if she wants to study magic. Elena says she does. She wants to become a magician. Jane finds her wonderful. She is ashamed to admit it, but she doesn't know what she wants to do in life. Sometimes, she feels like she's not good enough for the Halos family. Elena touches her hand and tells her not to worry. It's not necessary to know everything or be talented at something to be a wonderful person. Lection silently got up from the table and left them. Elena asks Master Lection to wait. Why did he leave them so suddenly? Elena apologizes to Jane, but she has to catch up with him. She convinces Master Lection to come back. He hasn't even finished his cake. Elena began to worry why Lection wouldn't talk to her. Lection turned to her. His face was offended, but cute. Elena asks Master Lection in a friendly way what he didn't like. The boy embarrassedly says that he is not her master. Why can't she just call him Lection? Elena can't believe he took offense to that. He wants Elena to call him by his first name, like Jane. Elena agrees. Lection embarrassedly asks her to repeat his name. Elena repeated Lection's name, until he glowed with happiness. He walked close to Elena, and said something in her ear. Lection asked her to say thanks to Sister Jane for the cookies. After that, the boy ran away from the garden. Elena was touched by his kindness. This boy is so nice. Elena wants to protect him,